Hi everyone, I'm Kavitha Mandana and I'm really thrilled to be celebrating World Book Day with all of you Fundoodaa fans. And I'm so thrilled to be beginning the story Bando, the dog who led a double life. And since it's about a dog, I'm just hoping I can tempt my little dog, Muffin. She's 8 years old, and the way to get her onto the screen is to use her biscuit dabba. Let's see if this biscuit dabba gets her onto the screen. Come in, Muffin. Muffin, biscuit. Yeah. Okay, so this is Muffin, 8-year-old Labrador, and the book Bando is also about a black Labrador, though Muffin is a white lab. And Bando is a very talented dog. I'm not sure about Muffin. She's got one of her talents is that she can catch rats, but otherwise I'm not so sure. Okay, so shall we start reading? Okay, we'll start with the first chapter. So today we're going to read chapter 1. It's called A Good Housekeeper. Now, who do you think the good housekeeper is? Let's find out. Bando was not the kind of dog you'd enter for a dog show. Not that he was ill-tempered or ferocious. It was just that he didn't have the kind of drawing room manners that win prizes at such shows. At the time when the poor dogs are expected to walk up and down in front of a large crowd, holding their heads high and looking posh and dignified, Bando would be sure to spot somebody in the crowd who had a friendly face, and then Bando would start wagging his tail, and then of course he wouldn't win any prizes. Definitely not from the stern-looking judges. In fact, it would earn him a series of minus points. Then there was the problem of his appearance. His birth certificate had Labrador written against breed. But that was either a terrible mistake or an outright lie. A Labrador, as everyone knows, has ears that flop down on either sides of its friendly face. See Muffin's ears? These are Labrador's ears that flop down. Now Bando had only one Labrador ear, the left one. The right ear stood up cockily at an angle that made you wonder where on earth Bando's father came from. Similarly, he had a rich black Labrador coat all over. Muffin is a white lab, okay? Except for Bando was black all over. He had a white patch over his right eye. So if Bando trotted past you on his way to the market and you saw only the left side of him, you'd probably be very impressed. Raising your eyebrows appreciatively, you would say to yourself, now there's a handsome lab. On the other hand, if you caught sight of him on his way back from the market, you'd only see his right profile. The ear sticking up and the white patch. Then you'd wonder, isn't that a strange looking dog? And what in God's name is it doing with a bag full of vegetables? What do you think a dog was doing with a bag full of vegetables? Well, the strange looking animal would be Bando on his way home after doing the weekly shopping, and if you happened to be close enough, you'd also hear a strange jingle jangle like he was wearing a pair of anklets. That would be the change left over from shopping, all the coins. Bando carried it in a yellow pouch around his neck so that his paws were free. All this added up to make Bando look rather odd, but he couldn't have cared less. He was so busy being old Mrs. Murthy's dog and had no time to be fashionable and well-groomed. It wasn't that Mrs. Murthy gave Bando a lot of work or made his life miserable. No, not at all. Bando loved the old lady with all his heart, and earlier when both of them were younger, all he could remember her doing was feeding him, playing ball and bone with him, or stroking his ears to help him go to sleep. But over the past couple of years, Mrs. Murthy had been gradually losing her sight, and the only one in the whole world who could look after her properly was Bando. Or that's what Bando believed. She did have a niece in Mumbai and a couple of cousins and nephews in Bangalore, but Bando didn't think them capable of caring for a dear old lady with failing eyesight. He had decided long ago that it was his duty to make up for the family Mrs. Murthy didn't. Yeah, we're back again. There was a little interruption when Muffin went from the back and knocked the camera over. So we're back where we left off last time, Bando had decided long ago that it was his duty to make up for the family Mrs. Murthy didn't have. So in the mornings, Bando bought him the milk. Then on Mondays, the weekly shopping was done. Sometimes, if his work led him by the park and if nobody was looking, he'd pluck a flower for Mrs. Murthy. You're not supposed to do that in the park, right? He knew very well that she could see it only very, very fuzzily. She was losing her sight, right? So he'd first place this flower in her hands for her to feel it. Then he'd wait for her face to break into a smile before she'd turn to Bando and say, "What a lovely carnation, Bando. Thank you so much." Bando was very proud that even though Mrs. Murthy couldn't see, she never ever got the name of a flower wrong. "Bando," she'd explain, "this sunflower would look lovely by the kitchen window." Or after gently feeling the long stalk and thick petals of his latest gift, she'd say, "I'm going to put this precious lily in a tall glass on the dining table." Inside her own home, Mrs. Murthy was quite capable of looking after herself. She'd lived in the same house for years and years, since well before she began to lose her sight, so she knew exactly where everything was. If you watched her cook Bando's breakfast, you'd never guess that she couldn't see. Her hands would fly around so fast, picking this jar up and putting those plates away, chopping these vegetables and storing those in the fridge. Even her feet seemed to know just where the chair and table legs were. She hardly ever knocked into them. So while Mrs. Murthy washed the dishes, Bando would take out the garbage. While she made up the beds and dusted the rooms, he'd water the plants, and she could cook a sumptuous meal out of whatever Bando bought in the market. So now you know who the good housekeeper was in chapter 1, right? See you tomorrow, and when we start the next chapter. You know what the next chapter is called? Job hunting. Now, who do you think is going job hunting? We'll find out